So when I'm preparing for the close, I'm gonna have the order put together in one click that already has my 1 year price lock guarantee included. I'm gonna have the price presentation sheet, which I just handed out to you. I'll have that. The only thing that's gonna be on the price presentation sheet is gonna be their name, the date, the 1 year total. I'm not gonna have checked any of the boxes or anything like that. So I've just taken the sheet, I'll put their name at the top, I'll date it, and the 1 year number where I've taken one click and I've added that line item with that extra 15% with the 1 year price promise. I'll have that total on this sheet. So I have my one click ready with the 15% line item. I've got that sheet and I have several blank pieces of paper. I'm a firm believer that taking the close to paper leaves you in much better control. So you want to present with the iPad so you're selling that quality, how good, the fact that it's in a computer came up with the price, you've seen the kind of estimates a lot of other companies are putting out. So it definitely brings you up to a different level. And I like the check boxes on the price presentation sheet because it creates some real conversation. But after I talk about that 1 year and the 9.9 that's on the sheet, I then take it to paper for everything else. So what I'm gonna do is, this is my paper right here that we're gonna do. So anything I put on the board is as I've taken it to paper. Everybody with me? All right, so at the end of the pre-close, I told the people what I call putting them on timeout. I said, listen, it'll take me 15 or 20 minutes to put the order together. You're more than happy to sit with me. I'm an open book. But if you need to go run the cans out to the curb or walk the dog or check on the kids, this is a great time to do it. And I'll give you a holler when I'm ready. And if you're in there in the evening and they got kids, I'm telling you, they're gonna scatter, go take care of things, get yourself all organized and then go, okay, I'm ready whenever y'all are. And they'll come on back to the table. They come back to the table and the first thing I'm gonna do, the whole idea here is to relieve the stress that they're feeling and create a conversation. So I literally always preface my close with this. Now, folks, this is not a negotiation. This is a conversation. I've got a lot of information to go over and share with you. Please stop me, ask any questions. I am an open book, and I'm gonna do anything I can to help you get your shower or your kitchen. They go, okay, yep, gotcha. First thing I do is I take the price presentation sheet. Now, I don't worry about them seeing the number. I actually want them to probably see it through my hands because it helps them start the digesting and getting over their anxiety. It'll actually make the conversation go easier as we go on. So whether I'm doing kitchen cabinet refacing or whether I'm doing Kohler, I literally just go through the check boxes. Now, before we go through the order, let's talk about some details. We're gonna do a complete inspection. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. This is included. And I'm saying each item and putting a big check mark by the box. Once I've gone through the boxes, I will then have my iPad on the presentation screen. I will turn the iPad to them, literally start at the top. It's one last time to build the order up. So whichever product you're doing, I'm gonna describe the installation in detail, how it's done. We're gonna remove all your trash, take care of delivering the materials. We take financial responsibility. Something gets broken, that's on us. You don't have to worry about those details. Estimated start dates, we're gonna quote 12 to 14 weeks, and it's a 2-day install. Or in your case, 12 to 14 weeks, it's a 3 to 4 day install. And then I'm literally gonna go through with the iPad and I'll blow up each item. Here's your pan, here's this, here's this, here's this, and I'm naming what the item is as I go through it. I'll read them the 1 year price promise, how regardless of any increases in material or labor costs, you're assured that you can do this project anytime in the next 12 months, and your total, and I'll read them the total right off of the iPad, and then I'll let them see it on the sheet of paper. So let's say my total, let me get a brighter color so it'll show up on there. There we go. Let's say my total is 28 $482.72. Now, when you're talking about the money you want somebody to give you, you're talking about the price of something, don't ever say $28,372. It's $28,482. It's not $24,482 or $28,482. Right. When you are giving them money, when you are telling them how much money they're going to save, it's $3,728 off, not $3,728 or $1,742. It's $1,742. Subtle thing, but it makes a big difference when you start passing the numbers back and forth. When we go $28,482, you are looking for the nose. You want these people to have a chance to express themselves. When you first put a number in front of them, it's literally like if you were in a pool with the water up to your neck and your head went underwater. They can't hear anything you're saying for a couple of minutes. We call it the ether is in the air. So give them a chance to express themselves, wind down, lose a little bit of that tension. This is where that silence is golden. So folks, your whole project can be done just as I've laid out for $28,482. And wait, let them say something. If that's a lot of money, I might say, compared to what? Or that's a lot of money. It's a big project. I know, I'm not disrespecting that it's a lot of money. Any other thoughts? One of the things that's real effective, you can't do it a bunch of times, but if they make a comment, you can literally repeat the last 3 or 4 words back to them in the form of a question, and they'll feel the need to justify themselves a little bit more. Oh my gosh, that's just so much money. So much money. I just don't know how we'd be able to do it. Don't know how you do it. That technique will make them feel that they need to explain further, that you're listening, but you didn't quite understand, and so they want to give you more information. The more they talk, the better off you are. The more they get a chance to express themselves, the more you are showing empathy for their position. This is where we're back to questions. You are asking questions to draw conversation out of them. You will come across as more understanding, more empathetic to their situation, and on their side in this equation by using questions and letting them express themselves. Every time you're talking, it's a waste of time. When you're making statements, you're trying to convince them. The only statements I'm going to make are to explain something, and then I'm right back to questions. So if I'm making a statement, I want to put it through the lens of it's only because I'm giving them more information. Not trying to close them, not trying to talk them into something, but explaining something. And then I have to go back to questions. Now, whatever their reaction to $28,482, I get it out of them, and then I'm going to say, folks, this is your 1-year number. Anytime in the next 6 months to a year that you want to come back and do this project, you're assured you can do it for this number. And if it is 6 months to a year from now, we have some great standard financing. That's 9.9% at 120. It's not 14, 16, 18% like some of these companies have. This is an unsecured loan. There's no lien on your property. You know, like a mortgage is a lien on your house, or if you're making payments on your car, you have a lien on the title. We don't do any of that stuff. This is just your good name and your good credit securing this loan. And it's simple interest with no prepayment penalty. That means if you send in anything extra, it all goes on the principal and shortens the loan and saves you money. All of our loans are like that. Now, let me just show you what you're looking at here, folks. $28,482 at the 9.9. And so that would be $374 a month. and I'm pausing again. I've passed the, I'm not trying to close, I'm not gonna ask us, assuming the closing question, but I've given information, I now want a response. So I'm gonna be quiet. If they don't say something in the next little bit, I'm just gonna look at them and go, does that fit in your budget 12 months out of 12 months? And they're gonna go, yes it does, maybe, no it doesn't, that's a car payment. It doesn't matter what they say, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I've got that coupon you've got been laying on the kitchen table the whole time. If they say, nope, there's no way we can handle it, well then you're gonna really love what this does. They say, yeah, we could probably swing that, then you're gonna really love what this does. It's the exact same verbiage, just in how I'm addressing it. And then, so what I'm gonna go, well, you're gonna really love what this does. We actually have a couple of promotions going on. This one right here, this is our national promotion. And as you can see, our manufacturing partner is gonna pick up 60% of the installation costs. So the national program, that's a savings or a credit towards the installation of $1,500 on this job. That's the installation credit for what you would get. Plus there's a cash savings of $1,000. So you're saving $2,500, and that brings this down to, I made it tough on myself, didn't I? 27,482 brings it down to 26,918 or 17. I think it's 17. I'm gonna drop the change. So that brings it down to just 26,917. Now folks, we also have another promotion going. I work in the #1 office in the company. And very simply, the reason we're the #1 office is because of how aggressive our general manager is. When I'm with someone that really likes what they've seen, they're seriously considering moving forward while I'm there, he actually allows us to take a significant chunk more off of this job because it's allowing us to see more people each month. That's why we're #1, is we see more people in a month than any of the offices do because of what he's willing to do when we're with somebody the first time. So that brings this down with my GM special. That's a savings of $4,500. And that brings this down to 23,917. I made it easy on myself. 23,917. Now, folks, if you were going to move forward, which one of these two would you be leaning towards? The GM makes more sense, doesn't it? Now, what they just told you, if you very carefully said what I said before, is they're agreeing to consider doing business today. See, if the person isn't tracking with you about doing business today, they would come back and go, because this right here is good for the month. It's a monthly promotion. This one, my general manager, I work in the #1 office in the country. The reason why we're the #1 office in the country is because when we're with someone that really likes what we've shown them, they're seriously considering moving forward while I'm there, rather than having that month special, that national program that's available for the month, he provides some additional savings because it allows us to see more people. That's why we're the #1 office, because we see more people in a month than any of the other offices do. So they agreed to lean towards this one, 23,917. Now, using our financing of the 9.9% at the 120, that's going to bring this down to 23,917. That's going to bring this all the way down to $314 a month. And I'm going to go quiet again. See, I'm chasing no's. Remember, I need 5 to 7 no's, don't I? I've gotten a no here. I've gotten a no here. I'm going to get another here. Now, low-hanging fruit might start to close, but for most people, they need to say no 5 to 7 times. So I'm letting them have a chance, letting them get these no's out. So I'm right here and I wait. And what are most people going to bring it back to? Are they going to bring it to this, or are they going to bring it to this? They're going to bring it to the overall. That's exactly right, Kira. The vast majority of your customers are going to focus on that overall number. So what you're going to do when they say that is you're going to go, well, folks, we've got a couple of other programs that would help a little bit that we can talk about, but they really don't matter if the $314 a month doesn't fit in your budget. Most of our customers like to take care of this on a monthly basis rather than having to go through all their on-hand cash. Does the $314 a month work for you? Does that fit into your budget? If they go yes, you can put a check mark by it and you can continue, again, just pick up where the conversation would be when I get there. If they say no, I'm going to anchor them. I don't say what would work for you, because if you say what would work for you, they're going to come back and go $100 a month, which you can't get to unless they got 15 grand to put down. So what you're going to do is you're going to anchor them with a lower number, $30 to $50 less. And if you do it correctly, they'll either say that works or they'll give you the number that works, but they won't be tempted to go super low because you anchored them with a number. So what I'm going to do is I go, okay, 314 is a little much. Let me ask you, Andrew, would you be more comfortable if we were in the 260 to 270 range? Would that work better for you?
Sure.
And he's either going to say yes, or he's going to give an honest number and go, no, I couldn't do more than about 220, 230. That's what anchoring does, is it makes them stick with the legitimate number. So he said that, what did I say, 260, 270?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take the low end of that, and I'll mark that off, and I'll go 260 a month. Now, when the time comes, we do like a good faith deposit. Somewhere between 10 or 15% is what most people do. On this project, you'd be looking at $2,000, $3,000 on a check or a credit card. Does that work for you?
No.
Little much?
Yeah.
I'm going to do the same thing with anchoring. Well, it's just a good faith deposit, Andrew. I don't want you to lose sleep over it. Would you be more comfortable if we did something around $1,000 or $1,200?
Yeah.
That work for you?
Yeah.
$1,000?
$1,000.
Would you do that with a check or a credit card?
A credit card.
Credit card? Always ask the person, once you've determined what the deposit's going to be, whether they're going to do it with a check or credit card. Because what you're forcing them to do is he goes from going, yeah, I could probably do $1,000, to when I asked him check or credit card, he had to source the money in his head. He had to consciously decide, where is that $1,000 at that I might give him? Am I going to write a check for it out of my checking account? Is there enough there? Or will I use the Visa card? So it locks down that they really can handle the $1,000 deposit, because the question forces them to find the money instead of just going, yeah, I could probably do it. So what I'm going to do there is I will put $1,000 down by check, and I'll circle that as well and put a check mark by it. Now, I'm going to go for a closing attempt here, see if I'm focused right here. So, looking at this, Andrew, if we do it for $260 a month and we do the $1,000 deposit, of course, that'll bring that down a few dollars as well. Does that take care of everything for you?
I think so.
Okay. Now, he's being easy. Even if he said that to me, I'm going to have a little conference, because I told him there were a couple other programs available. So I don't want him to think about that later. So the couple other programs that we talk about, I'm just going to write these over on the side, because I might not necessarily list them on the paper. I might just ask him in a conversation. But I'm going to talk about the veterans discount. We really like our veteran families. You know, do you have All right, were you ever in the military? Is there anybody in your family, maybe a brother or sister or a parent that was in the military? If you extend it like that, it's going to be very easy for somebody to usually qualify. Do you have a senior citizen in front of you? You know, AARP type discount. And then if you're in the Kohler showers, you can even talk about a medical needs discount. So, Andrew, I told you we had some other small programs, and I would sit here and talk about the veterans and the senior citizens and the medical discount, and if you pick one, and he's already acting closed. So I'm just crossing this T and dotting this I so it doesn't unclose on me later. And if he said yes, I'd go, great, that adds up to a 3 or 4% discount, whatever I want to do. And I can go to my custom discount screen like I showed you guys, literally type in senior citizens and veterans, make it 3 or 4%, take that amount off, and say, welcome to Kohler and welcome to Cabinet Restylist, because he should close right there. He said he was okay. But let's rewind. So we're talking about $260 down, and when the time comes, you can do $1,000 down. Looks like we've got everything taken care of, don't we, Andrew?
Yeah.
Quit saying yes.
No.
Say no, that's still too much money.
It's too much. I gotta go down lower.
I got you. So when you say, what do you mean when you say, in other words, keep asking questions. What do you mean when you say you got to go down lower? What did you have in mind?
I was thinking more like 950.
Where'd you get that number from?
Well, I talked to my wife and she told me she didn't want to spend more than 950 for a down payment.
For the down payment?
Yeah.
See, now this is a classic example of making assumptions as a salesperson that you shouldn't do. Everybody in here, including me, assumed he was talking about the overall, wasn't it? But the little role play he had going in his head was that the down payment was too much. So you can't make assumptions. But let's go back to the overall being too much. I want you to tell me it's still more than I had any idea of spending.
Yeah, it's a little bit more. I was kind of thinking about, at least, 21 or 19, 18, 16,
Say 10.
10.
So let me ask you. Let me ask you, Andrew. You're telling me before I got here today that you were thinking a project of this magnitude was going to be around 10,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even 11 or 12?
Mm-hmm.
White piece of paper. So, Andrew, if you were thinking 11 or 12 before I got here today, now that we've taken a look at this Kohler shower system, the fact that unlike so many other companies, we're going to take all the wall material off to the studs, do a complete inspection of the wood and the studs. Remember, I read it all out to you. We're doing a complete inspection, repair of any of that needs to be done. We're going to go back to where your hot and cold water supply lines come up through the wall of the floor. We're going to cut those and put brand new shut-off valves on them, and then all the lines going to the shower head and the faucet controls and the valves and the fastener connector, they're going to dump with the trash. I'm going to put all new lines, new fasteners, new connectors, new valves. And once that's done, once it's back to new construction quality, we're putting in a stone wall, not plastic, certified installer that'll get the job done in just 1 to 2 days. Got all those beautiful fixtures you picked. And then backing that, both project, both the materials and the work that was done, 150-year-old Kohler with an unconditional warranty. As long as you live in your home, they're going to take care of it. End of story. After I explained all of that, what did you think you were looking at then, Andrew?
Probably more like, 14, 15 maybe.
16? You know, Andrew, most of my customers expect a project like this to run somewhere around 18 or 19,000. Let me ask you, of everything I told you about the shower, what single thing impressed you the most?
I think the warranty.
The lifetime warranty? It's very hard to argue with a lifetime warranty in it. Tell me something else that you were really impressed with.
Kohler's a 150-year-old company.
How long they've been around? Just Kohler itself? Did you like the idea of a stone wall versus the plastic?
Yes.
And how about the fact that they're going to do the installation in just 1 to 2 days?
Yes.
And taking it down to the studs when they do it? Andrew, a lot goes into a Kohler shower, doesn't it? You know, let me check on something real quick. I've got an idea. Hello, Mr. Spire. Hey, it's Harold. I hate to bother you at home. Have you got just a couple of minutes? I really need your help, sir. So I'm out here with Andrew. We've got a beautiful home out here in Timbuktu, Virginia. They got about 8 acres. You can't even see his neighbors on each side. Just quite peaceful out here. And Andrew's been very hospitable. We've been taking a couple of hours, taking a look at the project and putting it together. He actually grew up just a couple of miles down the road on the farm his parents had, and decided to settle after he went gallivanting around the country. He came back and built his home and has been here ever since. But the home's about 35 years old, and he's got the avocado green tile that was so popular back then, and it just doesn't work anymore. There's some issues with a little bit of mold coming through the grout, and there's some caulking issues. It's a very dated shower. So what we've put together is we're doing a white base, the beautiful Calcutta crema walls. We're doing a teak seat. We've got a 21-inch shelf, the shower bar-A, the Awaken handheld, the clear glass Levity shower door, all in polished chrome. Beautiful, beautiful project. And I was going over the numbers with Andrew. So the 1-year guarantee was $28,482. And we talked about what the financing would be if he came back in 6 months or a year. And then we got down here and I explained the national program with Kohler and the GM special, and he definitely was leaning towards the GM special savings, which was $4,500 in savings, brought it all the way down to $23,917. Now, when we went over that, with that savings from the program, and he did say he could do a deposit when he decided to move forward of $1,000 by check. That brought his monthly investment all the way from $374 down to $314, but he's really looking for being around the $260 mark. And so we're a little bit off on the monthly payment that he's comfortable with. So I didn't know if there was anything you could help us with. We were talking about, before I got here today, he was thinking this project could be done for 11 or 12, but once we talked about the comparison between Kohler and what all these other companies are doing, he definitely can see why most people would expect to be at 19, 20, 21 to do this project. There's a lot that goes into it. We're at $23,917, and I just hate to not help him be able to get his Kohler shower. Any suggestions, Mr. Spire? Is there anything at all we can do for this gentleman? My manager, what's your zip code here?
It's 08542.
08542. Yes, sir. Timbuktu, Virginia. You got it. My manager's laughing. He says there must not be very many people that live here. We don't have any marketing dollars set aside for Timbuktu, Virginia. And you got about 600 people that live here. He's laughing too, Mr. Spire. So my manager was wanting me to ask you on a A, B, C, or D grading scale, if you don't mind me asking, how's your credit?
It's about a AB.
AB? Yeah, and he says AB, and I'm not surprised, Mr. Spire. He's the real deal. Yes, sir. So the reason we were chuckling about marketing dollars is one of the things that we can sometimes do is we can use marketing dollars for people who will help us with our social media and reviews and stuff like that, because it's very valuable in this environment and how the world works with the internet. But for you, where you live, he'd actually have to move money over from another market, a larger market. So we don't have any dollars set aside here. He wants to know, would you be willing to let us take before and after pictures of your project that we could use on our Facebook account to justify moving that money over. Would that be okay with you?
Sure.
And also maybe a review or two, just a couple of sentences of feedback from you? Yep. Mr. Spire, he's completely comfortable with doing all that. And the preferred financing too, that's the home run right there. Mr. Spire, I'm really glad I gave you a call. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. You have a good evening. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye. So now I'm ready to set up for the social media. Now at this point, I'm not staying on any piece of paper. This is a separate piece of paper. I'm quite busy. Get in the habit of not ending up on some little corner and circling things, because if they're confused, they won't buy. I'm probably going to use 2, 3, sometimes even 4 sheets of paper when I'm in a close. All right. So now let me erase this side so we can have our new sheet of paper. That way you can still look at the old to reference it. So we're going to call this my new sheet of paper. So what my manager's done is he's given us that social media funds. So hold on a second. He should have sent it across to my iPad by now. Let me get this out and take a look at this. So we're going to go to, yep, there it is right there. So he just gave us to say, I'm going to be a little off on the math because I've made up some of these numbers, but this will be close. So he gave us the social media was worth an additional savings of $1,951.23. And it brings this whole project down to just $23,361. And again, I know the numbers don't exactly add up. $23,361. Now, with that $1,000 deposit that you were talking about, the other thing my manager is going to do is he's going to allow me to use a preferred financing program. You got to have pretty good credit to qualify, but it really sounds like you do. And this is a 6.9%, still unsecured, still simple interest with no prepayment penalty. And so what this is going to do is this will bring this down This brings the whole thing down to just $208 a month. That's a lot better, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to Kohler. And I'm going to ask for that business again. Yeah, assume the sale. So that gives you how you, and I did this on a separate piece of paper, so it wasn't all busy like that. I'm not going to do any more than that on one piece of paper, and then I'm going to go to another. Now, while I've got the tape running, let me just continue this through so we can get the whole process of MODs all the way down. So I will now erase this. For whatever reason, he says no. Obviously, I'm going to confirm that the 208 is well under what he said he was comfortable with, so that's not the problem. I would double check to make sure he's comfortable with deposit. And it would just be light conversation, just very transparent conversation. Hey, Andrew, let me ask you, you seem, you're still a little bit hesitant. What's the problem? I'm just not ready today. When you say you're not ready today, I know you said you could do 1,000 down. I mean, is this a little much? I mean, I'm not trying to do anything that you're uncomfortable with. I don't want you to have heartburn over it. No, I could do the 1,000 if I wanted to. Okay. So what's wrong? Well, I don't know. It's a lot of money. Okay. Well, because generally if you've done it right, they're not going to be making up objections. They're going to be, it's a lot of money. They're hung up on the money, that kind of thing. But you're absolutely comfortable with the 208. That's good with the 6.9. Yep. This is why 70% should close here, because if they've been legitimate with you, there's no reason for them not to buy. But if you have to keep going, what you're going to do is start packing your stuff up, roll into warm-up. So what are you going to do this weekend? How do you spend your time? Or fall back on some of the things you learned about them in warm-up before. And you bring that conversation, and you're about half packed up. I don't want you to pack everything. Just get about half packed up. And then I want you, because remember, you're a little sad. You haven't been able to help this person. You weren't able to make it work. So you kind of just say, I don't usually bring this up, Andrew, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because most people don't qualify, and then they get upset. Nobody likes when they don't qualify, and I feel bad for bringing it up in that respect. But I guess at this point, we really don't have anything to lose, do we? So let me ask you a question, because I think this might work for you. You being retired, or you working from home, or you being around the house a lot, whatever. I think this might really work for you. So the average time that we're out to get to a project when somebody's going to be doing an installation with us is about 11 or 12 weeks. If I could open that window up a little bit, instead of shooting for 11 to 12 weeks, you give me the flexibility to come out anytime between an 8 and 14 week window. Would you be good with that? So as soon as he agrees verbally to the first one, I take a blank piece of paper and I write normal and I write ask, the line down the middle, and I go 11 to 12 weeks, and then I go 8 to 14 weeks is what I'm going to ask. Now, the next thing I want to see if we could do Andrew, is normally on a project like this, we would send 3 to 4 guys out. Would it be all right? Same certified installer, same quality materials, none of that changes. But would it be okay if I sent a slightly smaller crew out, just a 2-man crew? Would you be okay with that?
Yeah.
So instead of 3 to 4 man, we're going to send a 2-man crew. Now, obviously, if we're sending a smaller crew, might take a little longer. Excuse me. So instead of getting the shower done in just one day, it might be 1 to 2 days. It might go into the second day. Is that okay? Take 2 rather than 1? So rather than a 1-day install, we'll go 1 to 2 days. Now, when we go to schedule an installation, we typically schedule jobs Monday through Friday. Never work Sundays. But we typically schedule a job Monday through Friday. But if we're going to go into the second day, it might mean if I schedule it towards the end of the week, I need Saturday. I need to know that you're going to be here Saturday, that they can work Saturday. You'd be here to sign off on the job when they're done. Is it okay if we're working on Saturday?
Yeah, that's fine.
So Monday through Friday and Saturday. Now, this is a better way to explain my next question. So this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We typically book the jobs 1 to 2 weeks out. We're giving people 1 to 2 week notice when we're going to come out and do an installation. And we got about 600 jobs in the pipeline, and our people get paid not by the hour, but by the job. So when you got 600 jobs in the pipeline and you schedule them, somebody might have to go out of town all of a sudden. Somebody might get sick at the house. Might be some kind of bad news that happens. They just don't want anybody there that day. So a job I had scheduled on Thursday all of a sudden can't be done. In every region that we do business, we like to have 1, maybe 2 jobs in what I call the batter's box, where with just 72 hours notice, we can drop that job into that last minute schedule change, and that crew can keep on working. Would you be okay with a 72-hour notice versus 1 to 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Well, Andrew, I tell you what, I'm really glad I brought this up with you. As you can see, for a lot of people, this program doesn't work for one reason or another. But you've obviously got the flexibility to do it. Now let me see if I didn't overstep my boundaries. My manager was looking for one. Hey, Mr. Spire, Harold again. Listen, I'm sorry to bother you a second time. I appreciate the social media money. That was definitely a heck of a savings. That was just shy of $2,000. And we got this thing down to $208 a month. So definitely at a monthly number he's comfortable with. But I think Andrew just needed a little bit more to sweeten it up. So, you know me, I'm hesitant to bring up the Flex Install program, but you had mentioned a couple of days back that y'all were looking for one in this area, and he qualifies. He can open up his schedule from 8 to 14 weeks. He's okay with a slightly smaller crew. He doesn't mind the second day. We can work Saturdays. And he said even 48-hour notice is good. 48, 72 is fine. So I'm really hoping that we can get some of that production money and help him out a little bit more. checking to see what production's got. This might take a minute or two. I'll have to go back into warm up, ask some secondary question. If the manager's smart, they're gonna make you wait like a minute or two, not 30 seconds. Yeah, Mr. Spire? Really? Wow, really glad I picked up the phone. Yes, sir. How much is that? All right, hold on a second. Hold on. That's over $1,200. That's $1,200. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Spire. Glad I called. Yes, sir. I'll try not to bother you again. Bye. Now, what I would probably have done before I do the flex install, just being stronger and not being afraid to draw the line in the sand, what I'd have done, especially at a night lead, is once I told him he qualified, I'd have gotten a commitment from him. I'd have said, listen, you qualify for the flex install program, and my manager was looking for one in this area, 2 days ago in the meeting. I'm more than willing to call him and see if we can't get you, see that he's still got one open, but you're going to be able to make a decision one way or the other if I do? I mean, I'm calling the man. You can tell me yes or no, can't you?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
I'm going to take him right off the fence right there. Because he's been procrastinating. He hasn't been telling me no, he's been procrastinating. So I'm going to take him right off the fence right there, pick up the phone, get the next $1,208. This brings this whole thing down to $2,152. And my guess is this thing's really going to come down. Let's see what we come down to. $195.95.
Oh, that's great.
And just totally assume the sale at the flex install. Now you're chasing what we call the lost sale or the long shot. Because of the business you're going to get, you've gotten 90 to 95% of it. This is now that third MOD call. That's the Hail Mary. Only comes through every 10 or 12 times you do it, but it's still worth several $100s a week in income. So at this point, if I'm setting up for the last one, I put everything else away, set it by the door, end of the table, at the hallway, sit down for a minute and go, all right, let me just take a couple minutes before I start this hike back. What time is it? I got an hour and a half drive, hour drive. Can I get one more glass of water? Just buying 5 or 10 minutes of chit chat before I roll out. My kits are packed up. I'm getting ready to leave. And when I'm ready, and if you kind of feel that point where normally you would stand up to go, you literally go, oh, whoa, hold on. I almost got myself in hot water. Give me 1 second, John. And I'm going to call the manager back, and I'm calling him to let him know he didn't get his flex install program. And if they move marketing dollars over, you better put those back where you got them too. We just weren't able to do something. Then your manager is going to carry you through conversation. And typically the conversation with a lot of the managers, they're either going to offer you, because you listed the things that person's going to get, they're going to offer to pay for that thing on us, or they're going to offer to do the project, as I explained to you, for $700 over the labor material costs. Because of the number of jobs we have going to be installed, we've written so much business in this market in the last couple of weeks. Things are going to be really efficient for us in a couple of months when we're doing all these back-to-back installations. So since it matters so much, you've called me 3 times now, Andrew. Since it matters to you so much, I'll go ahead and let you do this one for $700 over cost. But you owe me one, and don't expect me to do it again for a while. And so then you can put it in the description box like I showed you earlier. Just go to a straight 18% with the custom discount and show them that big lump sum cash savings. And then if you haven't, I'm going to porch slide them. I'm going to say, listen, I can't carry everything out at one time. You guys go ahead and talk about it for a minute. I'll check my messages, take this stuff to the car, come back for the briefing. Just flash the porch light when you're ready and carry yourself out the door. Even if they're talking to you, just keep on walking out the door and leave them alone. The longer they take, the more likely you're going to get this. So the only thing that I would have inserted in that process that I just went over is if he wasn't reacting to price when I was at GM Special, if he was reacting to anything else, instead of the 3-step value bump, I would have ARIO'd them. So Andrew, I want you to tell me, let's roll this back, and I'm at the GM special, whatever that number was, 23,482 or whatever it was, and say the words, I just need a couple days to think about it.
I just need a couple days to think about it, Harold.
I understand. It sounds to me like the way you're saying it, you would just be a little more confident in your decision if you had a couple of days to think it over.
Yeah.
Andrew, let me ask you this. Other than needing a couple of days, is there anything else keeping you from moving forward?
No, I think that's it.
That's pretty much the only thing in the way. Okay.
I'll sleep on it.
You know, most of my customers, when they tell me they need a couple of days to think about it, what they're thinking about is one of 4 or 5 things. Blank piece of paper. They might be thinking about the company, could be the project, maybe it's the product, or not, maybe it's the person, sorry. Could be the warranty, or it may be the price. Now, I know it's been a little while, Andrew, since we talked about the company and the way Kohler conducts business and the way they watch things from beginning to end. You still completely satisfied with the quality of work they would do in your bathroom?
Yeah. I think
Totally assumptive to the positive. And did we get it right? Is this the design, the shower you want in your home?
yeah. Yeah. You get it.
Okay. I know I've been here a couple of hours. Are you okay with me quarterbacking the job from A to Z and taking care of everything for you?
Sure. You seem like you know your stuff.
I appreciate that. I've worked very hard for people to have that feeling. And I can't imagine there's anything wrong with a lifetime warranty that literally covers everything about it. So it sounds to me, Andrew, like it comes down to the price being what's holding you up.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? So when you said you needed a couple of days to think about it, it really came down to this right here, didn't it?
Yeah.
When you say it's the price, is it the overall price? Is it the monthly investment, or is it both?
It's the overall price.
The overall. So you're good at the 224 or the 260 or wherever you're at. You're good at that, the monthly investment. It's just a little bit of the overall.
Yeah.
You know, let me check on something. I got an idea. And I'm right back to that first MOD call. He's already committed to the payment, probably already talked about deposit, and I'm right back to that MOD call.